welcome to another Art in Conversation as part of National Association of Women Artists. Our today artist and NOVA member is Gina White. Gina, welcome to our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Farron, and I'm honored to be with you today, and I'm excited to talk with you.
Thank you. I'm really excited to see your beautiful artwork and learn more about you and how you do your work. All right, so as usual, would you please introduce yourself, talk about yourself, and tell us how you became an artist and what type of art you do?
Okay. Um, so I have always been interested in art. I have loved it, and my growing up, I've always been attracted to creating. But I got a degree in speech pathology, and kind of started that path. I really didn't pursue art in any shape at that time. But when I was pregnant with my second child, my son, 20 years ago, I became sick. I developed ulcerative colitis while I was pregnant with him and became bedridden and housebound for about 7 years. And there's only so much TV you can watch. And so I just picked up a sketchbook and started drawing and just reconnected with my creative side. As I started getting better, I had a few surgeries and was able to get back out of the bed and out of the house. I started with oil pastels and oil painting. But after about 5 or so years, I discovered encaustic painting, and that's my medium of choice now. I sometimes dabble in oil paint, but mostly it's encaustic.
Okay. Wow, 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 wow. Beautiful work. I was just wondering when I was checking your website, what medium are you
Mm.
using? Because I saw it, and then I realized you work a lot with nature, in particular,
Mhm.
like landscape and bees. Are you beekeeper?
Yes, I am. So I had, well, currently I'm in between beekeeping situations. I live in Florida in St. Petersburg. And in the fall, we were hit by the hurricane, and I lost all my girls. I had multiple colonies, and that was a low point, I must say, with the situation. We lost our house, but we did lose the bees. And I'm temporarily living in Tampa right now. But when we rebuild, I definitely plan on starting that back up again and rebuilding my colonies.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. I was just thinking to ask you because somebody told me raw honey with honeycomb in it is good for allergy. I said, oh, let me see if
Absolutely, you should do that. Yes, if you go to like a farmer's market or some local place around you, all the bees will have gotten nectar from the flowers in your area, and it really does make a difference. So,
Yeah, I have to find. I couldn't find yet, but I'm just looking. I said, oh, let me ask.
yeah,
But so you're far away. You're
yes,
work
yes.
on.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of your artwork, some of the beautiful artwork. The first one here, it shows you as a community leader and an artist and teacher. So are you teaching art in your community?
Yeah, so I do all of those different things, and some of them are a combination of that. So I obviously I paint my as an artist, I do my own paintings and I show around the state. But I also feel that art is really therapeutic and really helpful, even for people who don't feel that they're artistic. So I teach I teach encaustic for people who are interested in that medium. And I teach in museums, local museums, and some colleges, like more of the workshops, not courses, but more of like workshops and things like that. But I also teach non-encaustic things, like that last picture on the right, um, I have been, I also run a gallery. So let me just, I'm kind of jumping around, but that is a group installation we created at the end of COVID.
Okay.
And so this was trying to, this is at the end when everyone was feeling disconnected from community. We were all had been just inside our homes and just really everyone was kind of in a bad place. So we tried to find some way to involve everybody. And art, as you know, is very healing, even for those who just don't consider themselves artists. So that is an installation of 10,000 origami doves. And each dove, everyone was in, this was a community-wide thing, not just within our church. So we invited anybody who was interested. We had all these papers available. And if they didn't feel comfortable following the directions and folding their dove, we had other people who could do that for them. But each of the papers had a hope, or a prayer or something for them to write down. So, and then they folded it up and we hung it in this big, there's another photo, I think, in this slideshow from the rear where it shows the doves kind of just swooping up to the front.
Yeah.
And it's, anyway, it was a really special experience, I think, because it just really brought everyone together. And it's just a piece of paper. It was like just copy paper, but it really made everyone feel just whole. And we did another because, like I had mentioned, our whole city flooded from the hurricane, and so the entire region where we live, everybody has been either displaced or it's just been tough. So we had another workshop in our damaged church for everyone in the community that wanted to, and I taught everyone the art of jumchi, which is Korean. Like you mesh different mulberry papers together to create a different kind of uh, substance. And it's really great for people who have zero art experience, all the way up to people who really do consider themselves artists. And that was another really neat experience for everyone to kind of just bind together. And then we showed everyone's artwork on the walls.
Wow,
So
beautiful. Yeah, I mean, this is about that's about art, bringing people together,
mhm.
creating a community, creating a family, like Nova, right? We all are part of
Yeah,
this family, but
absolutely.
also healing. Look at yourself, right? That
Mhm.
source of healing for you when you need it,
Yes,
and
yes.
so that's about art.
Yeah.
It create
I,
and heal and bring people together.
it does. And I feel that like there's two aspects I feel. I mean, there's many aspects, but to me, I kind of focus on two. I feel like artists do have a special way of looking at the world and like highlighting different things, whether it's just the beauty of the flower in your backyard to help people to stop and really just be grateful for the little things up to, the meaning of life. So there's really neat ways that artists can help people in their communities and in the world at large focus and think about these things that might be difficult or more difficult to just talk about.
Yeah.
But then also, like you said, there's the aspects for people who don't really consider themselves artists or who just really want that to use that as a vehicle for healing. So I feel like there's just so many wonderful things that art does for people. It's just I feel that it would be wonderful for more people to experience it, especially in this current, just the world that we live in right now.
Yeah, exactly. So it brings us together. It share, same feeling and make us a community, a family, a society.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Let's like actually see some of your beautiful work that you create, and we appreciate if you share,
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Mhm.
explain some of this work.
Sure. So this actually is a piece that I'm submitting for the member show. And this, as you could see, it's called the In-Between Spaces. And if you don't mind, I can read it. I know everyone else can read it too, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's
please go ahead.
as discord erupts, both locally and globally, and our connections to others become fractured, Chaos threatens to press in and crowd out love. We must not forget that we have the power to push back by filling in those cracks, those in-between spaces with kindness, patience, grace, and generosity, the seeds of love. When we choose love, even in life's small and mundane interactions, beauty grows in the cracks and the fissures. The roots of this kind of beauty have the strength and the power to heal the cracks and fissures, one in-between space at a time.
Wow,
So thank you. Thanks. The materials themselves also, I think I was trying to use them to tell the story. There's three main materials that I used in this piece. All are very old art forms. So one encaustic, and that's an old art form from the ancient Greeks. That's the wax color, covered areas. Everything is coated in wax. But the pieces of wood there, I coated with intonico, which is the final layer of a, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out, of a fresco. Thank you, of a fresco. So that's another old ancient art form. And then the materials that I used for the flowers and the leaves are tapa cloth, which is it is paper, or they call it cloth, made from mulberry bark, and that's a very old process, usually around the Pacific Rim. The particular paper that I used here is from Tonga. So again, all three of those materials are ancient art forms, and the hope was I was binding them all together to illustrate the resiliency and the when we bind together all of our cultures, all of our humanity, we really are strong together.
yeah,
So
all of differences, right? I mean, it's because this is each piece is different material.
yes, that's exactly right, Farron. So
Yeah,
that was, it's,
yeah, and by itself, it's separated, but somehow something make them connected, you know?
yes, yes.
So,
And we're stronger together.
exactly, no matter what the differences are between us,
Mhm.
race, color, politics,
Absolutely.
religion, everything, but
Mhm.
we all can come together and
Yes.
uh, we somehow connected and we
Mhm.
find this connectivity, this like
Mhm.
source that can connect us. And that's how
Yes.
beautiful you see all by itself, but something opposite, something different.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
then how you actually start using this old material? I mean, why? What drove you toward this sort of
So my daughter always loved art. And so one of the, I had at one stage of her life when she was like she's 22 now, but when she was like 9 or 10, I had taken her to some private art lessons at one of our community studios where, it was a collaborative studio area where many artists rented space. And so one of the artists there, I knew, and she taught private lessons. So I would bring Lauren to this art studio space, and there was an artist. I still don't know who it was because I couldn't find them, but there was one painting on the wall. I just couldn't, every time I dropped her off, I just zeroed right in on that painting. I just couldn't keep my eyes off it. It was just drew me in, and it was encaustic. And so I scoured the whole city trying to find somebody who would teach me, and I couldn't find anyone who would, and I still have no idea who that person was. But as luck would have it, my daughter the next year was going to a camp, a sleepaway camp in North Carolina in Asheville, and they had many artists up there who did work in encaustic, and I found a wonderful woman who Bridget Benton, who taught private lessons. And so when we went up there, I took a day with her. She taught me, and I was hooked. And so then I got
oh,
into, once I learned the history of it, I just got so excited. And then I kind of led me toward, encaustic is wonderful, and that's my primary medium, and I love it. But that's just one culture. And there's so many ancient art forms that really have they're at threat of of being extinct, and so I think it's one of the, back to the teaching question you gave me, I am also a part of the International Encaustic Artists group, and one of our pet projects is to keep this art form from dying out, because throughout the years and centuries it's waxed and waned, no pun intended, so to in popularity, and we just don't want it to die out. And so I do feel that there are other art forms like that, that really are in danger of being, kind of just dying out.
Yeah. So I mean, so hopefully you said this is going to be an annual show at Nova, right? In
Mhm.
this,
Yes, yes.
I'm definitely going to go and see it
Mhm.
before I start my travel.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it is a difficult medium. So
It is.
it time consuming and challenging.
Mhm.
So therefore, most artists like myself, we're going
Mhm.
for easy.
Yes.
And simple one, which is how to work. So
Right, right.
that's one of the reasons been putting aside.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you said you try to bring up this origin of
Mhm.
art, where it
Mhm.
came from, and
Mhm.
how actually people in ancient time, for example, used nature. So all
Right.
of material or medium came from somehow used nature-based material to create.
Yeah, and I feel that it's, back to the connections, art connecting us. We're all, it's just humanity, period, and I feel that if you go back in time to see all of these ancient pieces and the artwork that's created, they're the same as we are. It just really makes, to me, it just kind of puts everything into perspective. We're all just trying to
Yeah,
do the same thing,
yeah,
we're
to
all,
find out root, this
yeah,
is a root. All right,
yes.
so
Mhm.
how about this one? Is this the same material or what you
Yes,
use?
this is all encaustic, except well, actually, it's a few little things. So this was a piece that I was commissioned to paint for an organization called V3, and it's like a 3 foot by 4 foot piece, and um, it's now a public art piece. So it will travel to different places. Right now, it's in a local hospital, Moffitt Cancer Center. And the idea is to help people, be uplifting. So this piece is about transformation, and the bottom part of the swirl is inside. I buried. It is old fabric that well, actually, it's fabric that I aged and I had sewn into it, and it is kind of a nod to the artwork that a lot of the poorer women employ in India and the Southeast Asia area. A lot of women do these hand stitched fabrics to help them sustain themselves, to keep them out of, trafficking. A lot of them are victims of trafficking. And so the piece kind of goes up to the greener part, I've also buried fabric that I also created. It's not really fabric, it's tea bags. I sewed together old tea bags and then I stitched them. And that was a nod to, there was a 13th, I think it was 13th century Israeli women in Italy. They are celebrated, and I think they still do this, where they hand sew these beautiful Torah covers. And so they are honored but for their skills. So the idea is it's kind of a nod to women and how again, they're the same skills, but through the transformation, they're celebrated and embraced and loved. A lot of it is society's way of looking at them. But, again, we all are the same. And then the flourishing happens as we continue our path of life and grow and change.
As you said, awoke my soul. So It says when the soul awoke, you see it flourish,
Yes.
or
Mm-hmm.
berries, or flowers, and
Mm-hmm.
how all this all came together to help the soul to rise.
Yes. Mhm.
So that's a beautiful work and really actually itself has a soul.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. This piece is part of a series that I did. I'm very nerdy, Farron, so I usually I'm inspired by things that I read or and this particular series was a nature series based on the book An Immense World by Ed Yong, and it is phenomenal. I loved it. It was about the scientific research that he went all over the world speaking to scientists about their the findings that they have done about animals and how they all have different experiences. Their senses are different than other animals. Like for instance, these birds, they have an extra visual cone than most other animals, including us. So whereas we have three visual cones and we can see a combination of about 1 million colors. Birds have an extra fourth cone where they see ultraviolet colors. We have no ability to even describe them. So scientists use words like grpple, made up words that we don't even know what it would look like. So this is just a reflection of, and it might be difficult to see, but these are the pieces it's all different varying heights and perspectives because it's all an encaustic painting, but it's painted on books. And so they're all different layers, and there's a lot of gold and vibrant colors in it. It might be hard to see. That's one thing with encaustic. You really can see the depth of the color in person a lot better than on in photos. But this
So
was
these are book pages.
it's the backs of books. So
Okay, the book cover.
yeah, the book cover. So they are full books. Like if you look at the side, you'll see the pages of it, but
Okay.
I secured the used books, a couple of used books that were headed for the dumpster,
Yes.
and onto the canvas. It's a board, a cradled board. And then I painted encaustic on top of it. And this was a reflection. It was supposed to be talking about the vibrancy that the birds see that we don't. They see a combination of 100 million colors. So it's mind-boggling, And
Yeah.
so
Have you watched that Netflix show, Life of Bird by David Attenborough?
yes. Oh my goodness, I could totally nerd
Yeah.
out on that stuff.
I love him. I watch all his documentary. He just turned 99 years old, by
I
the way.
know, I know, I love him.
I watch all the documentary. But as soon as I hear his also, oh, I have to watch.
Yes,
Life
his
of
voice
Bird.
alone.
Yeah, but Life of Bird, even I play it in my classes because it's just mind-blowing
It
about the
is.
birds and all those
Yes.
beautiful life and things they do, which I didn't
Yes.
know.
Yes. And this was part of the same series, but also this I'm partial to bees, as we discussed before. So this is there's some the wooden parts are frames from my beehive, and the parts that look like honeycomb are actually cardboard. It's like honeycomb cardboard, and I the rest is all encaustic, except for the little door right there. But the idea is that um, the the beauty of the world outside is vibrant, and like the flowers in your yard that are giving you allergies, all that stuff. The bees are responsible for most of that. They have to pollinate, and they propagate this nature around us. But like an engine room of like a ship, they're not glamorous. They're not, terribly colorful. They're not as yellow as people depict. They're just like fuzzy kind of brownish, but they are the engine room is responsible for everything to
Yes,
work.
they are
And,
the essence. So
Mhm.
without them, we won't have all this beauty, right? We won't
Right.
have all this garden and different flowers and
Yes.
different, yeah, that's true. true.
Absolutely. So this is some of the work that I do also is community. I really big, if it hasn't come through before, I'm very big into community and community building through art. And one of the opportunities that I had was this show. They've done it a few times. It's Alicia Campos Masso. She helped organize this group called 100 Women Artists in Art History. So 100 women, contemporary artists in the it was kind of centered in the East Coast and some internationally. We all had an artist in art history who might not have been celebrated as much as their male counterparts. And so we researched that artist and just got to know their story and their artwork a little bit. And then we used our own methods and style to honor them, either with kind of a nod to their style or some other way of reflecting them. And then we, in the show, we had a little description of the female artist, and there was a picture of their work along with our actual work. So it was a really powerful show. And like I said, we've done it a few times where we really got to honor the women in our past who really have advanced art for women over the years and really enabled us to do the things that we as women can do today. My artist, one of my favorites, is Margaret MacDonald Mackintosh. She was part of the Glasgow Four in Scotland at the turn of the late 1800s, early 1900s. And this was my piece in the show.
Oh, wow, beautiful. And I can tell you're part of community because your work are multimedia and always you try to connect different pieces
Yes, yes.
like you can do,
Yes,
bring
yes.
things together. So that's
Right.
what,
And it makes it fun because again, we're only as strong as we are together. It's just
yeah,
like,
exactly.
sometimes I know artists, and I can feel this too. We feel isolated because our work is in our studio. We don't go to an office and interact with people in meeting rooms or something. We do our work in our either home studio or a studio maybe that we rent somewhere. But joining together in community, it just really it makes us all better, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
This piece was a lot of fun. This was in 2020. Again, it was right before COVID. So it was, interesting, but this was, I was asked to participate in this. It's called Project GOAT. And the GOAT stands for Global Offensive Against Trafficking. And so it was to raise money to fight trafficking. And so each of us, there were 50 artists, and these pieces. At that time, the Super Bowl, the NFL Super Bowl was going to happen in the Tampa Bay. And usually, it's crazy, but usually when large sporting events happen in our area, in many areas, the increase of traffic, there's an increase in trafficking because there's more clients, I guess,
Yes,
want
true.
to take advantage of that. And so this was a really great partnership with the NFL. And so it was NFL, like Super Bowl 50. So there were 50 goats. And then we had, right before the Super Bowl, there was a big event at the Tampa Zoo. And they had all of these pieces on sale for auction. And my piece was, so we got these. They were statues, undecorated, and then everyone got a chance to do whatever they wanted with it. And unsurprising, I did something with nature, and but this was different birds, all different places. And at the bottom, by the feet, you can see I created a metal nest, and then had different eggs in it. And then there's a little plaque, a bronze plaque that I etched with chemically etched into it the this quote, we think caged birds sing when indeed they cry. And then after I painted, this one was oil paint, this was not encaustic, so that it could go outside, and it was purchased in for someone's garden. So then I took everybody, I took, after I painted the goat, I tied the entire thing with wire so it felt caged in.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful
Thank
work.
you.
And really touching story, like how that came together and relevant to bring this
Well,
awareness.
I resonated with you, Farron, when I was just looking at some of your work and some of your the pieces and things that you do, because you like symbolism too, and I really do. Everyone has different approaches, but I really like symbolism
Yeah,
in
I
art.
like narrative. I like my story, my work to bring things together. And so therefore, I think with the help of symbols, we can send these messages. And
Yes.
that's actually what I always did and I do and I teach
Hmm.
symbols. So
Yeah.
and I see your work also. You see how everything, little things
Hmm.
in one piece. And that's the beauty of symbols. When you use different thing, different symbols from different culture, from different religion, from different perspective,
Yes.
to make it
Absolutely.
one. And
Hmm.
that's actually make the work more like an open book.
Right. Right.
Everybody can read and rely on it.
Yes, and some people might not see it or be interested, but it's there. If they want to see it, they can. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So, Amiz, I know we talked too much, and I wish we had more time to
I know.
discuss more of this, right? When you
Yes.
talk about art, time flies.
Yes,
Uh,
it does.
so let's just finish with this project, the community project, and I guess hopefully we have another time to discuss more of your.
Yes, I'd love to. This was what I had mentioned before. This is the Jumshi project. After our, I don't know if you could see it on the left-hand photo, that this was inside the church, like one of their community rooms, and it's a hot mess. Like there's the floor is destroyed. It's all just concrete. There's, tiles from the ceiling falling through because this area was flooded. And so this was an opportunity to people with all different levels of artistic abilities, just to come together, really be in this space, even though it was again a big mess, but just to come together and create something of beauty, because we've been surrounded by just such devastation. And again, I know there's always someone who has it worse, so I'm not saying that we're still left standing, but it was really a wonderful opportunity for everybody to kind of join together and use art as a vehicle to build community.
To build and to heal and to know they are together in this. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not something, oh, that's actually a piece you were talking about. Uh,
Yes, this is the photo. So this is from the back end, and you could now see a little closer. Each one of those pieces of paper is a folded dove with some kind of hope, prayer. It's just something written on it. And, it just really, this was at the end of COVID, when people were starting to tentatively leave their homes. And it was a way to show community. And one of the fun stories, and I know we're over, but there was this woman who she was in her late 80s, and she really did not get out much. But we had talked about this project and promoted it on social media, and in the church services, the pastor had talked about it, and she was so excited about it, and she wanted to come help hang these doves. So she asked her caregiver, she had like a nursing assistant that helped her in her home. They came over here and she helped tie some of these doves up. And we were all a little nervous because she was starting to like try and climb on things. We're like, no, no, no. You could just see her joy and her happiness at doing that. And not too long after she passed away, but she
Oh,
felt that, I mean, it was just such a wonderful embodiment of how that really made something special to her. Because even at their best, a lot of our elderly are isolated, and so
yeah.
you combine that with COVID. That was just a really tough time for them. So we just were so excited that Mildred was able to be there with us, and
What
that
the
was
one they actually suffer more were the elderly people, because they
yes,
couldn't get help. And
yes.
it's very touching, very interesting actually to see all this. And Gina has a beautiful website. I had your website open, but we didn't get
Oh
a
yeah,
chance
yeah.
to.
I know. I'm sorry. I
Uh,
yammered too much.
it's okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, Gina. I appreciate
Thank
your time,
you.
your story. You're beautiful, your work are beautiful, and what you do is beautiful. We
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for the opportunity. It was such an honor, and I really, really am so appreciative.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.